will have 1 minute to respond. In addition, please hold your applause until the close of each portion of tonight's event. Again, thank you for attending tonight's event, and we will now begin. Candidates, please take 30 seconds to introduce yourselves and your platform.
Hello everyone, my name is Jordan Otabel. I am a legal communications major from Cincinnati, Ohio, and my platform is based on giving you guys all a voice. The VOICE acronym stands for Valued, Openness, Innovation, Community, and Engaged. My platform strives to help others, other freshmen make sure that they feel valued in community.
First of all, thank you for giving me the opportunity to introduce myself. I do enjoy interactive crowds, so hello everybody. Hey! Hello, how are y'all today? Good. I did that for a reason, and that's because I care about y'all. First of all, my name is Fortune Fields, and I am a freshman film and TV major from Cleveland, Ohio. And I'm very glad to be talking to you all today. I sit on a council called Mic'd Up Council. Mic'd Up Council is a freshman-oriented council that stands for the goodness and the smoothness of 2029. Thank you so much.
First question. If elected, what impact do you hope to have, and how will you apply that at Howard after graduation?
Thank you for that question. I want to say that one thing that I would do if elected is bring SOC more representation and bring it now. Because I feel as though if I'm asking people, hey, are you a freshman in SOC? What's SOC? That's a problem. That's ridiculous. Bring SOC more representation. Second of all, I want to bring SOC together more. If I'm walking around and I feel as though I can't talk to this girl because I don't know her, that's a problem. I need to talk to her and I need to make her feel like we are family. Second of all, I want to make all freshmen have a voice. I want you to understand that when your mic is up, your mic is on. And you are not being heard just because you want to be heard, but you are being heard because we want to hear you. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. The one thing that I want to be known for is making sure that every SOC freshman feels valued. We are such a small community that it makes sometimes feel like you can't have a voice and that you don't have a voice, but I'm here to tell you that you do have a voice and that I want to be that voice for you. If you need anyone to come by and say hello, I'm always open. I'm very approachable to come and talk to. That is something I want to make sure that we have. Again, visibility is an issue here, so I want to make sure that everyone feels visible and that they're seen at the school, and that the School of Communications is working to make sure that there are connections being built that aren't just a hey, but a hi, how's your mom, how's your family, and really getting those close-knit and tight-knit communities. Thank you.
Second question. How do you plan to advocate for students who might feel underrepresented, such as commuter students, adult learners, or students with disabilities?
Thank you. One of my building pillars is built on openness. I want to make sure that you understand anything that's going on, that there are any events that are happening, that you guys have direct access to those events. I want to make sure that students that are commuters still have open and events known ahead of time to make sure that you guys are understanding, hey, come, we want to see you, we want to meet you, and really having that feeling of you are invited, you are important, and your voice does matter. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. So what I want to say is that Mic'd Up Council stands for Mic'd Up Council. We are SOC. We are creative individuals. We are people who stand for things bigger than, we are just such great people, y'all. I love SOC so much, it's ridiculous. However, I am standing for the underrepresented also. So to make them heard, I can have them do forums. We want to have a mic'd up or a mic'd on event where we make everybody feel like they're heard, where they give us feedback. What are we doing wrong? What aren't we doing right? What can we do better? I want everybody to feel like they're connected in SOC. That is my goal. I want everybody to feel like family. I want them to feel like I can come to Fortune. And I also want to speak on our pillars. Our pillars are honor, transparency, empowerment, legacy, and family. Once again, thank you.
Next question. How do you plan to balance certain obstacles you may face in order for your desired position?
Thank you for that question. So I thought about this a while. I'm not going to lie to y'all. Thought about this for a while. Problems, they're problems. They can be hard. But it's not the problem that matters. The thing that matters is exactly how you overcome it. And I plan to overcome it with my team. I'm a team-oriented person. I want my team to feel like they're heard. I want them to feel like Fortune has a problem, she's communicating it with me. I'm not going to keep them from what's going on with me because we're a team for a reason. I want everybody on my team, on my council, and even if you're not on my team, I want you to understand that we are all human and we have things going on. So the way that I will handle these problems is just simply through communication and making this better in the future. I don't beat myself up for my mistakes, and I don't make excuses for myself either. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. One thing is, like we were talking about, communication is the key and the most important factor when you have problems. As a previous student body president at my high school, I had the responsibility to take over 2,000 students and understand and listen to their problems. So that has helped me understand what it means to work with people, what it means to understand the exact issues they're facing and how I can exactly address them. I've also had the opportunity to work with an executive board and understanding that it means to delegate roles and making sure that everyone knows what their responsibility is so that there isn't any confusion and we can mitigate any conflicts. That is what I'm here for, and that is here for you guys. Thank you.
This now concludes the moderated question portion of tonight's event. The audience will now have an opportunity to pose questions to the candidates. Audience members, please make sure that your questions are general, as this is not a crossfire and any pointed questions should be reserved for that event. Again, candidates will have 1 minute to respond to each question.
Hello, my name is Tori Newkirk. I'm a freshman film and TV major from East Georgia County, Maryland. And what I would like to know is with this SOC freshman council being the first freshman council in our school, I would like to know how you guys are setting the standards and setting up the foundation, and also how you guys set yourself apart from other previous SOC councils in general.
Thank you, Tori. That's a great question. The biggest thing is we are the first council, like you said, and that means we need to make sure that we have a level of perfection. And not just, oh, I want to do this, but I will do this, and I will make sure that we are things like, I feel like one of the most important things that hasn't been addressed in the past is transparency issues. So I want to make sure that there's communication between each other. I want to make sure that there's clear, open dialogue between the student government and the student body, which also happens to be one of my initiatives based on openness, which is the Communications Plus. This would make sure that I have direct communication to you guys and that you guys have direct communication to me, especially when it comes to things that are coming from the higher ups, like the Amplify Council or the administration, understanding what they mean and what they're saying, and being able to relay that to you in clear and concise and condensed information. Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Tori. So, what sets me apart, or what sets my council, my council apart from past things? I want everyone in this room to understand that I cannot speak for what has happened in the past. I want y'all to understand that I cannot speak for what other councils have done and what other councils have wanted. But what I can tell you is, from the class of 2029, we have only seen SOC in the rear. Everybody knows who Debbie Allen is. Everybody knows about her work, her stories, her writing, her acting, but nobody understands that she originated from the School of Communications. Nobody talks about that part. All of our professors and our advisors, they pour so much into us and don't get the credit back, and that's a problem. These problems. That's a problem, y'all. They pour so much into us and they don't get anything back. So what sets me apart from any other council or what they wanted or anything like that, what sets me apart is the fact that I recognize that problem.
Time.
Hi, me again. As an upperclassman, I'd like to ask, I know that there are a lot of organizations that are based in SOC, from our mock trial team to Spotlight Network, etc. So how familiar are you guys with those organizations, and how do you plan to make sure that freshmen have access to collaboration?
Thank you for that question, Jaden. I am familiar with all, we have the Black Journalists, we have Spotlight Network, and I'm willing to collaborate with all of them. I think that all of our freshmen need opportunities, and they need them now. They don't need them sophomore year. A lot of internships pertain to sophomores and juniors and seniors. But how will I do that exactly? Through my personality. Y'all see my personality. I talk to people. I love talking to people. I I will do that by simply connecting and talking to them and telling them what I stand for. And that's how I will make sure the freshmen are represented. Thank you.
Thank you for that question. I know that there are a lot of organizations that SOC does have, and I think all of those organizations are great, but I think what really could help us and help the freshmen is bringing in more people to talk to the freshmen specifically. I know of a lot of advertisers, campaign managers, lawyers who would love to talk to Howard freshmen, especially the School of Communications, and let them know, hey, this is how I got here, and this is how you guys can get here. And also opening up more organizations like Black Women in Pre-Law does that as well. I think that we really do need to make sure that we're becoming more visible to the Howard community and the community in DC in general. And I think I have the ability and the network to do so. Thank you.
This now concludes the audience question portion of tonight's event. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. On behalf of the commission, we would like to thank you for your attendance and participation in tonight. Please make sure that you are following the commission Instagram account for updates about the upcoming crossfire and election schedule. Again, thank you for being here tonight, and this now concludes the event. Thank you. Can I have my vice president? Welcome back to the Speakout for Freshman Council. First, the candidates will be answering moderated questions that have already been prepared. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. If you are running as a slate, one representative will answer each question posed. At the end of the moderated question portion, the audience will be able to pose questions to the candidates about their platforms and intended plans for their desired position. Again, candidates will have 1 minute to respond. In addition, please hold your applause until the close of each portion of tonight's event. Again, thank you for attending tonight's event, and we will now begin. Candidates, please take 30 seconds to introduce yourself and your platform.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Isis Dubuclay. I'm a freshman TV and film production major from Slida, Louisiana, by way of New Orleans, and I proudly serve as the running candidate for vice president of Mic'd Up Council. Mic'd Up Council has 5 pillars. It is honor, legacy, transparency, empowerment, and family. Thank you so much.
First question. What does ethical leadership mean to you, and how do you plan to model it in your work?
Thank you for the question. To me, ethical leadership means leading by example, but not only by example, by the right example. For me, I was a student ambassador, student council member, and also the leader of the editorial staff on my senior yearbook. For me, I point to, how I see myself using these, the way I see myself using all these in my campaign, and if I were to win vice president, is by making sure not only do we have our council is able to use our voices for the people, but also making sure my council members are doing their jobs. As vice president, I want to make sure that everybody is being heard, but not only that, making sure that the council itself is being heard inside the council, so outside the council we can be the right leaders for our students.
Next question. How do you plan to balance student frustrations with motivating them to engage?
Thank you for that. Obviously, frustrations can be a very big hinderer inside our education, not just education, our lives too. So for me, I feel like how we can motivate the students while they're frustrated is use that frustration as a moving block. You're mad. I get you're mad. We're mad too. You're mad. I bet you if we're mad, you're probably angrier about it. And that's okay. But what's also okay is taking that frustration and using it as a push. Push yourselves to come talk to us. So we can get mad. Hey, I'm mad. You're mad? Now I'm angry. And now we want to make that better for you.
Next question. Please share how you intend to hold yourself accountable if your platform promises are not fulfilled during your term.
That's a good question. Thank you. We all make mistakes. And if we're not being held accountable, let me backtrack. If we are not doing what we told you we were going to do with our 5 pillars, and I catch that, if you come to me and you're like, hey, you said this is family. I don't feel like this is family right now. I can step back and be like, oh, perfect. Thank you for could go to my treasurer, I could go to my president, and we could go to our higher ups to say, hey, we're probably not doing this right. How can we help ourselves? How can we help our school better?
This now concludes the moderated question portion of tonight's event. The audience will now have an opportunity to pose questions to the candidates. Audience members, please make sure that your questions are general, as this is not a crossfire and any pointed questions should be reserved for that event. Again, candidates, you will have 1 minute to respond to each question. This now concludes the audience question portion of tonight's event. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. We would like to thank you for your attendance and participation in tonight's event. Please make sure that you are following the Commission Instagram account for updates about the upcoming crossfire and election schedule. Again, we thank you for being here tonight, and this now concludes the event. Can I have my secretary? Welcome back to the Speakout for Freshman Council. First, the candidates will be answering moderated questions that have already been prepared. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. If you are running as a slate, 1 representative will answer each question posed. At the end of the moderated question portion, the audience will be able to pose questions to the candidates about their platforms and intended plans for their desired position. Again, candidates will have 1 minute to respond. In addition, please hold your applause until the end, to the close portion of tonight's event. Again, thank you for attending tonight's event, and we will now begin. Candidates, please take 30 seconds to introduce yourselves and your platforms.
Hi everyone, my name is Deborah Canoe. I am a freshman speech pathology major from Silver Spring, Maryland, and I am running to be your SOC freshman council secretary. My campaign emphasizes on 3 things: organization, transparency, and adaptability. Organization. As your secretary, I will keep clear records of documents and meeting notes. Transparency. I promise to be honest with every student in SOC and council and Howard as a whole.
Greetings everyone, my name is Amari Alexander. I am a freshman legal communications major from the City with Soul, Jackson, Mississippi, and I am running as your secretary of freshman council. My pillars are ACE, action, community, and engagement. And with these 3 pillars, I plan to really take action and inform everyone in everything that is going on and make sure that we are on a smooth passageway to the School of Communications. Thank you.
First question. What strategies would you implement to increase voter turnout for elections and events?
Okay, can you rephrase the question?
What strategies would you implement to increase voter turnout for elections and events?
To increase voter turnout, I think that Howard emphasizes having events to really get the word out about your organization. As we can see, there are multiple partners that are on campus a lot of the times, and hosting events that bring people in, not just for SOC, but in general, so that they can know what is going on, and inside of SOC to understand that every council needs your vote. We can't vote. If we don't vote, we don't have a voice. So understanding that you need to get out and vote and having discussions and events to emphasize that would really help our school.
Thank you for the question. I think that we should collab more with other councils. SOC, people, as Fortune said, SOC is more of like what people would think a more smaller school. So they don't think that like we have like more organizations or per se pertain to our students. I think that we should collab more with other councils to bring more community and networking opportunities for our students.
Next question. How do you see the council's role evolving in the next 5 years at Howard?
Can you repeat that question?
How do you see the council's role evolving in the next 5 years at Howard?
I do believe that this is only the beginning, and I do think that SSC Council, even though this is the first council, I do believe that as a community, the more we grow, I feel like we will bring more attention, and the more attention that this council gets, we will amplify actually, let me backtrack. I do think that with the more clubs and the more organizations that we have within School of Communications, the more I think attention will be brought to SOC.
How do you see the council's role evolving in the next 5 years at Howard?
I would say seeing the council's role evolve also means understanding that we're going to be in a different place now than we are then, and understanding that the resources that we need, they don't need to diminish, but they need to evolve. And that means understanding and connecting with executive members and understanding that we are in a transition as SOC right now with different places and different buildings that we are in. And so understanding that we have to fundraise in order for us to get new equipment for everything, and understand that we need to be able to collaborate with people and make sure that we're networking with the right people so that we understand and get internships for people, not just for us now, but for the freshmen to come after us. Thank you.
Last question. At the end of your term, what legacy do you hope your fellow classmates will say about you?
Thank you for the question. I think community. I'm someone who has held a lot of previous leadership positions, and I believe that community is what makes your position. Involving other students and involving, will be in touch with them, being open to them, and create an open space for them allows them to have that intimate, not moment, but that intimate relationship with you. That relationship with you that will also help bring more connection within the school as a community.
I would say that a previous legacy that I left at my high school to begin with is knowing for being a fundraiser, for being a vice president of SGA, and I want to continue that here, not in those same roles, but also understanding and taking those skills to improve them here. I understand that we need fundraising for different equipment that we might have, and I have experience as a director for using the only largest children's network hospital in our state and fundraising over $20,000. And so understanding and realizing that, hey, I don't want to just be a person who is here and on a council, but I actually want to serve and give and have things that you can say, hey, they did this for us in the future. Thank you.
This now concludes the moderated question portion of tonight's event. The audience will now have the opportunity to pose questions to the candidates. Audience members, please make sure that your questions are general, as this is not a crossfire and any pointed questions should be reserved for that event. Again, candidates, you will have 1 minute to respond to each question.
Hi everybody, my name is Fortune Fields. I am a freshman TV film major from Cleveland, Ohio. I knew that. And I just want to ask, if this question hasn't been asked already, how exactly do you plan to contribute to your council specifically? A lot of the times secretaries can kind of live in the background, they cannot really like contribute a lot. So how do you plan to specifically help your president, help your vice president, help your treasurer? How do you help out on the team? Thank you.
Thank you for that question, Fortune. Transparency. One of my pillars for my campaign is transparency and being honest. So I'd say being honest brings you and takes you a long way. So I say being honest with my vice president and my president and my treasurer with anything that happens within council or even outside of council.
I think first to understand that every role is important, and so it's not just fading into the background, although you do pose a great thing, but also understanding that if you are going to contribute as a council member, you are not just helping yourself and being on the council, but you are giving advice. You are making sure that you are keeping up with notes and tasks and events that we have scheduled for our events as vice president and president, and delegating those roles and not just being the person who fades in the background. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Roman Flores. I'm a freshman film and media production major from LA, California. My question is, what experiences do you guys have in the secretary field, and why do you feel like you're best fit for this?
So as I said before, I have been the director of Bruin Thumb, which is a student-led fundraising organization for the only children's hospital in Mississippi. And understanding that not only have I been the director, but I've also been the assistant director, and I've also been the scribe, and being able to connect with that. So I understand that it doesn't just take one person to fund whatever it is or to hold one council together. You need everyone. So also understanding that having tasks and setting goals and making sure that everyone is also feeling good, understands and creates a much better council than just doing it by yourself. Thank you.
My campaign emphasizes on community. I've held president roles, vice president roles, secretary roles, and treasurer roles, and I do believe that not one role isn't better than the other or higher than the other. And I would say that community is what makes those roles specifically, because without community, I do believe that you won't be able to have those. How do I say? Well, yeah, without community, I think that you won't be able to have that not spot. Yeah, just.
This now concludes the audience question portion of tonight's event. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. Thank you for your attendance and participation in tonight's event. We would now like to excuse the secretary candidates and call up the treasury presidential candidates. Welcome back to the Speakout for Freshman Council. First, the candidates will be answering moderated questions that have already been prepared. Each candidate will have 1 minute to respond to each question. If you are running as a slate, one representative will answer each question posed. At the end of the moderated question portion, the audience will be able to pose questions to the candidates about their platforms and intended plans for their desired position. Again, candidates will have 1 minute to respond. In addition, please hold your applause until the close of each portion of tonight's event. Again, thank you for attending tonight's event, and we will now begin. Candidates, please take 30 seconds to introduce yourself and your platform.
Hello everyone, my name is Romeo Flores. I'm a freshman film media production major and I'm from the LA, California. I'm with Mike the Council. We have 5 pillars: transparency, legacy, family, honor, and empowerment. Thank you.
First question. If you were to realize one of your initiatives isn't working, how do you plan to pivot and honor your commitment to students?
Thank you for this question. One way that I plan to work on improving that is definitely communicating with my secretary, my president, and my vice president. I feel like communication is definitely one of the big things in my campaign that I want to do. I want to make sure we're all communicating well. Keep in mind and remember this: just because I am treasurer does not mean I am lower or higher than any other position in this campaign. Thank you.
Next question. How do you plan to balance certain obstacles you may face if elected for your desired position?
Thank you for this question. So certain obstacles I feel like I might face is definitely schoolwork and time management. I won't lie, I'm a procrastinator, but one way I plan on working on this is definitely communicating. Communicating is a big thing in my campaign. I feel like as long as I just communicate and let my other members know, hey, I'm struggling with this, falling behind on this, can you help me out? Because we're all a council, we're all a family. That's one of the big pillars in Mike Duck. We're trying to make sure we all help each other out and support each other no matter what. Thank you.
Last question. What motivated you to run for your desired position, and what is one goal you hope to accomplish by the end of your term?
Thank you for this question. What made me want to run for treasurer is because back in high school, I was ASB treasurer for all 4 years in high school. And one goal that I have in mind is definitely fundraising for t-shirts and sweaters for SOC freshmen. And we plan on having the freshmen design those things so they can be included and feel like they're involved with us, because we're promoting family, not just the council. Thank you.
This now concludes the moderated question portion of tonight's event. The audience will now have an opportunity to pose questions to the candidates. Audience members, please make sure that your questions are general, as this is not a crossfire and any pointed question should be reserved for that event. Again, candidates, you will have 1 minute to respond to each question.
How do you plan to manage understanding your budget and realizing that if a student wants this and it's not possible, well, how do you tell them no or work around that?
Thank you for this question. Although we are promoting family, I know we all have moments when our family speaks to us and we feel kind of hurt. So we managed to keep in mind that we have assertiveness and let them know, hey, we understand that you want this, but this can't be done in certain ways because some things just can't work out the way people want them to. So we plan on communicating that with them and best working in our way to make it possible. If we can't make it possible, we will find other ways around it. Thank you. Thank you for this question. As we all know, SOC is seen as the smallest school, and I will say we're seen as the weakest one. But because of that, just because we are small does not mean we are weak. We are small, but we are strong all together. What I want to do is definitely fundraise for, like I said, hoodies and shirts so we can have that. You see other schools with that, but you don't see SOC with many of those. We want to bring pride and joy to the SOC. Make you feel like, yeah, I'm in SOC. Because how many people do you ask, like, oh, do you have friends in SOC? And they're like, no, I don't. Either you don't talk to that many people or you just don't talk to anybody in SOC. The way that we want to promote my council is by letting people know, hey, we're family. Although we're small, we're strong all together. And I want to do that by promoting certain gears that we can wear. Thank you.
This now concludes the audience question portion of tonight's event. Let's give our candidates a round of applause. We would like to thank you for your attendance and participation in tonight's event. Please make sure that you are following the Commission Instagram account for updates about the upcoming Crossfire and election schedule. Again, we thank you for being here tonight.